Hello students, this is Inheritance and Variation part 13. So in this slide we are going to discuss about autosomal inheritance. So if you remember the autosomes. Now in this image you can observe that there are some chromosomal pairs, right? From 1 to 3 to 22. From 1 to 22, all these chromosomal pairs, these are nothing but the autosomes. And the last one, that is the 23rd pair, is X and Y, or it is either X or Y or XX. That is, this last 23rd pair of chromosome, it determines the sex of that organism. But except this XY, uh, from chromosome 1 to chromosome 22, all these chromosomal pairs, they determined all the characteristics, phenotypic and genotypic, all the characteristics, body characteristics of that individual, okay, and not the sex. This last pair, 23rd pair, is responsible for the sex determination of that organism. So let's talk about autosomal inheritance. Now what is autosomal inheritance? Human somatic cell contains two a number, that is 23 pairs of chromosomes. We have discussed in the earlier part of this lesson in detail about the soma cell and the somatic cells, body determining cells, and the sex determining gametes forming cells. Okay, if you remember that the difference we have discussed, that soma cells or somatic cells and the germ cells. Okay, so these somatic cells from chromosomes 1 to 22, all these, they determine the body characteristics and not the cells. So all such type of cells, they contain two a number, that is 23 pairs of chromosomes inside them. So out of these 23 pairs, 22 pairs are autosomes, while one pair is sex chromosome, that it determines sex. So out of these all 23 pairs, from 1 to 22, all these 1 to 22, all these chromosomes or all these cells, they determine the body characters, while the last XY or last 23rd one, it determines the sex. So autosomes, they control all other traits other than the sex. To these traits, they are called as autosomal linked traits. All the characters which are controlled or determined by the autosomes, so all these characters or traits, they are known as autosomal linked traits. So what is autosomal inheritance now? Transmission of all body characters other than sex-linked characters from parents to offspring through the autosomes is called as autosomal inheritance. So what is autosomal inheritance? When there is transmission of characters, all the body characters from parents to their offsprings, only sex-linked characters are not passed. So all that passing of that characters is known as autosomal inheritance. So autosomes are always present in pairs and they possess both dominant and recessive genes. So all these autosomes, they are again found to be present in the form of pairs, in the form of dominant and recessive characters. So if the dominant and recessive characters are present, dominant characters will get expressed, recessive characters will get suppressed. So some characters are influenced by the dominant genes while some are by the recessive gene. So some characters are influenced by the dominant genes, they get expressed because of the dominant genes, while some characters, they get expressed because of the presence or because of the expression of the recessive genes. So we'll have a look that which are those characteristics which are dominant, which are influenced by the dominant genes and the recessive genes. So as we have discussed in the earlier slide, that the dominant gene and the recessive genes which are present or which are situated on the autosomes, they are responsible for the expression of some traits. So here are a few examples that which dominant genes express which traits and which recessive genes express which traits. So due to dominant gene, the traits which get expressed, these are of two types. Widow's peak, this we are going to discuss in detail in today's session, and another is Huntington's disease. This you don't have for your studies. Traits which get expressed due to recessive genes are phenylketonuria, that is PKU, this you have in detail, and cystic fibrosis is not given in your book. And sickle cell anemia, as far as this is concerned, we have studied it or discussed it in the previous lectures. Whatever part is included in your this session is completely theoretical. If you remember all the points, then it becomes very easy, as this part is completely theoretical, completely descriptive. Okay, there are some points which you have to remember, so I have tried to give some beautiful examples which are very familiar to you, your generation, like Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, this American actor who played uh, a beautiful role in Titanic, while this Will Smith is again another character, American actor, who is familiar because of Men in Black. So if you remember these two characters, you will definitely remember the widow's peak. This diagram is included in your book. Widow's peak, here you can observe the hairline. The difference between this two faces, okay, the hairline in the widow's peak and the no widow's peak, that is normal hairline, so straight hairline. So if you remember the same in these two faces, this Leonardo is with the widow's peak, while Will Smith is with the straight hairline. So what are the points? Prominent V shape. Now you can observe the shape of the hairline. Okay, it is V shaped, and because of that it is known as V shaped. Okay, so there it is prominent, it is completely visible, right? This is completely visible. You can completely identify that this structure is hairline, it's having some difference. These two structures, they are having some differences. Okay, so that prominent V-shaped hairline in the center of the forehead, it is present at the center of the forehead, which is V in shaped, and it is completely visible. That's why it is called as prominent. It is determined by autosomal dominant gene. Now this characteristic, that is a straight hairline and a widow's peak. Now this characteristic, it is because of the presence of autosomal dominant genes. Okay, so you know autosomes, the autosomes are chromosomal pairs from one chromosomal pair to 22, right? So all these are autosomal pairs, and the dominant genes which are present on the autosomes, so these genes, they determine this type of characteristics, that is known as widow's peak. Now widow's peak occurs in homozygous dominant, capital W. If it is present, then it is homozygous dominant trait, and it also get expressed in the heterozygous individuals if there is presence of capital W and small w. If you know the law of dominance, in that we have studied, even if the trait is having recessive character, that is small w is present, and because of that it is supposed to be heterozygous trait, but we know that recessive character gets suppressed while the dominant genes, they get expressed. Okay, so widow's peak occurs in both the condition, whether that individual is homozygous dominant or that individual is heterozygous dominant. Okay, heterozygous individual. So in the homozygous dominant, the trait is capital W, capital W. It is determined by these two. While in case of heterozygous, it is determined by capital W and small w. Those individuals with homozygous recessive genotype have single hairline or no widow's peak. Now the second case, that is Will Smith, or this second case with no widow's peak, they are having a straight hairline. They don't have such type of prominent V-shaped hairline, right? So why it is, because these type of individuals, they don't have the dominant homozygous or heterozygous trait. They don't have their autosomes, they don't carry the capital W gene, and because of that they have only, or they possess only, homozygous recessive genotype, that is small w and small w, and because of that they don't have, or they don't express the widow's peak, so they have straight hairline. Both males and females have equal chance of inheritance, so it is not only present, widow's peak is not only present in the males, but it is also determined, or it is also expressed equally in the females. So in this slide, we are going to talk discuss about phenylketonuria. Now, this is the autosomal recessive disorder. It is an inborn metabolic disorder caused due to recessive genes. The recessive genes which are present on the autosomes. Because of the recessive genes, because of the expressions of the recessive genes present on the autosomes, this metabolic disorder, it get expressed in some individuals. These recessive genes present in the homozygous condition. So you know the homozygous condition, when the recessive genes, both the recessive genes, they get expressed together, then that condition is homozygous condition. So these recessive genes, as they get they present in the homozygous condition, so what happens, one enzyme, it doesn't get produced. That enzyme is phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. This enzyme, the name of the enzyme is very important as far as the phenylketonuria is concerned, because this enzyme, expression of this enzyme, if it is absent, then there are some conditions which are present in that individual. So in normal condition, those who are not affected with the phenylketonuria, those individuals, they have this enzyme, that is phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme, present inside them. So what is the function of this enzyme now? This enzyme, it converts phenylalanine into tyrosine. Okay, so this conversion of phenylalanine, which is present, or which is accumulated in the body, so that phenylalanine, it gets converted into tyrosine only in the presence of this enzyme, that is phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. What happens in the homozygous condition, when the recessive genes, they are present, and when this metabolic disorder is present in some individuals, that this enzyme, it stops this conversion. So this phenylalanine, it doesn't get converted into tyrosine. So if it is absent, if this enzyme is absent, this conversion is not possible. So tyrosine, it is not getting formed. Okay, so phenylalanine in those individuals, uh, the, and its derivatives, not only the phenylalanine but also its derivatives, they get accumulated inside the bloodstream, as well as these get accumulated into the CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid, which is present in the brain. Okay, brain is suspended in the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, so that the accumulation of this phenylalanine and its derivatives, it is mainly occurs in the bloodstream and in the CSF. So brain development gets affected because of the accumulation of this phenylalanine and its derivatives, which causes mental retardation in the individuals. And the excess amount of the phenylalanine, it gets excreted in the urine, as it is getting accumulated into the bloodstream. So the excess amount of it get excreted into the urine of those individuals, and this condition is known as phenylketonuria. In this slide, we will see how the PKU, that is phenylketonuria, what are its symptoms. So those who have this disorder, they have seizures. Now what are seizures? A seizure is a sudden uncontrolled electrical disturbance in the brain. It can cause change in your behavior or movements or your feelings. So as we have studied that the phenylalanine and its derivatives, they get accumulated in the cerebrospinal fluid. So because of that, the seizures, they are one of the symptoms. Another symptom is movement disorder. So there is there are some problems in the movement, hyperactivity. Now this is a third symptom. This symptom, hyperactivity, is also a chronic disorder. A chronic condition includes attention difficulty, hyperactivity and impulsiveness. Okay, the there is delay in the development. So there is late development in such individuals. Mental retardation is also seen in these individuals. And the last one is autism. In the autism, this is a serious developmental disorder. Okay, autism is a serious developmental disorder that impairs the ability to communicate and to interact. So such persons, they are unable to communicate properly, or they cannot interact properly. Autism spectrum disorder impacts the nervous system and affects the overall emotional, social, physical health of affected individuals. So this autism is also because of the it is related to the nervous system. So there is no nervous coordination properly, and all this is because of the accumulation of the phenylalanine and its derivatives, and it is all is getting accumulated because that enzyme is not able to convert the phenylalanine into tyrosine. So these are all the symptoms. In this slide, we are going to discuss the genetic disorders. So what are genetic disorders? Genetic disorder is a health problem caused by one or more abnormalities in the genome. It can be caused by a mutation in a single gene. That is, if a single gene is getting mutated, then that condition is known as monogenic. Or if multiple genes they get affected, then, or if they are getting mutated, then that condition is known as polygenic. Or by chromosomal abnormality. There are some genetic disorders which are not because of the mutation of one gene or many genes, but there are some genetic disorders which are found to be present because of the abnormality in the chromosomes. So although polygenic disorders are the most common, the term is mostly used when the discussing disorders with a single genetic cause, either in a gene or a chromosome. The mutation responsible can occur spontaneously before embryonic development. So that mutation is also possible in the before embryonic development. And or it can be inherited from parents to their who, or if the parents are they are affected, or if the parents they are carriers. So such type of disorders, they can get transferred from such parents to their offsprings. So as far as the inheritance we are talking about, from two parents who are infected or who are the carriers of that faulty gene, that is all we are talking about the autosomal dominant inheritance. Okay, so some disorders are caused by a mutation on the X chromosome, and they are known as X-linked inheritance. Very few disorders are inherited on the Y chromosome, or some are on the mitochondrial DNA. So all these type of disorders, whether they are sex-linked or X-linked, or some are Y-linked, or some are autosomal disorders, so all these types of disorders, these are included under the one heading, that is genetic disorder. So these genetic disorders, they are mainly divided into two. One type are Mendelian disorders, and another are chromosomal disorders. So in the Mendelian disorders, these caused due to alteration or mutation in the gene. So all these disorders which are caused because of the mutation in the gene, all these disorders, they are grouped under one heading, that is Mendelian disorders. And the examples are thalassemia, color blindness, hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, and phenylketonuria. So out of these, two we have studied, and these three we are going to discuss in the next lecture. In the chromosomal disorders, these caused due to excess or absence of one or more chromosomes, that is abnormal arrangement of the chromosome. So as we know that in human beings, the 46 chromosomes are present. Okay, so there are 23 pairs of chromosomes. They are found to be present in normal human beings. So when the chromosome is excess in number, so when there is 46 plus amount of chromosome is present. If 47 instead of 46, if 47 chromosomes if they are present, or when there is absence of one or more chromosomes, instead of 46, if 45 or 44 chromosomes if they are present, then a disorder get formed, that is abnormal arrangement of the chromosome. And these all disorders, genetic disorders, they are because of the arrangement, abnormal arrangement of the chromosomes. And all these disorders, they are included under one heading, that is chromosomal disorders. Now which disorders are included in that? Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, and Klinefelter syndrome. So we are going to study all these three syndromes in the next lecture. So we have discussed purely completely theoretical part in this session. So I hope you have understood all the terms and all the uh, disorders. So please keep the points. I have prepared some points on the slides. Pause the video and note down the points, and you will get full marks if you write those points. Okay, so read the points, read your PDF, and listen the video again and again. And that's all for today's session. Thank you.